Hey guys, Rebecca. So I have not been watching the news for months. I kind of glance in. I've never watched cable news. And if you do, please stop. Please, 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 for your good, for your family's good, for your generation's good, for our country's good. Please, there is nothing you need there. It's poison. Okay. Anyways, but that's my very strong opinion of forever. Anyways. So what I'm seeing today when I glanced at the news was that everybody's freaking out about I'm seeing people freaking out about the number of like rapists and pedophiles and predatory people who Trump is nominating, and how many times have I said it? Predators work together. Their only real loyalty is to each other, because if they look out for each other, it's like a group project, right? But here's the thing. I'm sorry, we really need to get this into our head. This is not new. And no, I'm not talking about like Bill Clinton. I'm talking about the majority of human history. We don't want to think of it like this, of course, but we live in a world that has been dominated by predators, pedophiles, rapists, con artists. This is a history book, right? This isn't new. It is not just like humans have tended towards, living in peace with occasional burst of, some terrible person gets into power. And no, some terrible person gets into power and they bring other terrible people into power and they target good people and they perpetuate themselves over the course of endless generations. This is what they do. It's how they've always done it. This is not anything new. And it has been how humans have run our affairs. You look at Gaza. What's happening there is horrifying, of course. It's awful. It's so awful, but then I think of stories like, there was a traveler, on the Silk Road back during the time of Genghis Khan. And there's a recording of him passing by a city that Genghis Khan, had tried taking. They resisted. And so he had every single person in the city killed. Every single one. And this traveler going past it in the aftermath spoke about walking past this city, this huge city where there were no human voices at all. There were no fires. There were no people left. And that wasn't the first time something like that happened. It wasn't the 500th time. It has been a persistent feature of human affairs. Now, here's the thing. I know a thing or two about the predatory, rapist, pedophile crowd, unfortunately. Aside from my own personal experiences, I cut my eye teeth doing prison ministry. I was volunteering at a juvenile prison outside of Chicago. And this was in the early 90s when everyone was all in a tizzy over the super predators, these children with no conscience. And, where I was volunteering was where those children would end up. I've been on the streets with people. I've worked directly with unhoused people on the streets. Some of the people on the streets are there because they've they're sex offenders. They can't get housing. They can't be in certain places. You know, some of them are still unsafe. It's very unsafe for people on the street because we allow very, very vulnerable people to be left to their own devices with no protection among people who are so unsafe that they can't find housing near other people. What do you think that looks like? You know, I actually, the other day I was taking a shower and kind of praying. I don't even remember what I was thinking about, but I had this little vignette, this picture of a man who had, it was from long ago, cave people, hunter-gatherers, nomads, in a cold place. And this man was being put out of the village because he had gotten into a position of power and abused it. And the people had strategized to take over from him. And he was being cast out for his behavior towards the people, which would be like the best case scenario, right? Except in this picture in my head, there was a woman wrapped up in like furs, you know, traditional clothing, huddled up on a sled along with other possessions and the animals he was taking with them. And it really kind of hit me like if I've ever inherited, I've never inherited anything, but if I ever inherited anything, it would be the legacy of that woman. The one who was just viewed as property of some predatory man, who somehow it was okay for her to just go with him because she just didn't matter, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand it. But that's who these people are, you know. But as I said before, we are in a season of changing patterns. We can see them. And the biggest piece of advice that I would give you, if you're watching this happen and you're horrified, of course, and you're trying to figure out how to respond, what is your place, right? One of the first things I would really strongly recommend that you do is cut way back on the amount of attention you are giving to any of this. Because not only can you not affect it, but you have to understand these are people who are really, really, really good at harming people in such a way that they will create a wound that they can then press from far, far away and hurt you, right? All this stuff where he's nominating rapists and predators and pedophiles for all these important positions. He's not doing that on accident. He's doing it very much to upset people, especially these something like 30% of women who have experienced sexual assault or abuse. It's a dominance game. These people are always playing a dominance game. And the way they dominate you is by keeping your attention wrapped up in them, by getting you to believe that you need to, in order to be safe, you have to watch what they do. You have to strategize. You have to counter. You have to do all this crap because they're setting an agenda. Look at how they're behaving. Look at how they're behaving. Look at how they're behaving. Well, guess what? They're going to keep behaving horribly. Okay? Do you hear me? they are going to keep behaving horribly. There are people who like are positioned to actually resist this stuff, fight back, counter, use the system in whatever way they can, use their platform, use their voices. There are people who are doing that. If you are not one of those people, then you do not need to be exposing yourself to all of that. And the reason is because what you need to be doing is something good for you, for your people, for your community. Okay? Because that's where our power is. Our power is in our own healing, and then taking care of each other. Right? And that could be physically, in the physical. It can also be online. But I think we'd be wise to be working in the physical as much as we can at this point. But the more attention that they take, that they get from you, the more emotions require a lot of energy. Getting pushed into big emotions, the anger, the outrage, the despair, the constant, oh my God, did you see what they did? And they did this and they did that. And, all of it. Trust me, guys, I've done it. I still do it sometimes. It's human nature, but none of it's productive. None of it is going to change a single solitary thing. It will use up your energy. It will drain you. And it will eat your time. I mean, to keep track of the details of what is going on, that's like a full-time job. Just to follow the news and keep up with what's going on. Think of the amount of time you are devoting to that. And mind you, I started reading the newspaper when I was in single digits. I read the entire newspaper, including the classified section. I did skip sports because, sorry guys, it's too much anxiety for me. I can't deal with the anxiety of it. You don't look like you're having fun, by the way. So anyways, but no, I mean, I'm a newspaper reader. I have followed politics. I have followed the news. So this is not me being the Susie stupid saying, oh, just don't pay attention to it because it'll, it keeps some track of what's going on, but you don't have to follow the details. And really, you should only follow to the extent that your kind of emotional equilibrium can allow it. Don't let it do that to you. Don't let it keep putting you into these spaces of anger and despair, because what we're dealing with is a lot like the Upside Down from Stranger Things, where it's feeding on the negative emotion that it is actively taking action to create. Okay. And it is like quite the trick. It is quite the catch-22 to pull yourself out of that dynamic. But if you can pull yourself out of that dynamic where you can decouple your emotional state from these horrors that are going on in the world and around you, then you will be operating from a position of power and a clarity, right? And if you are really serious about not letting America be Germany 1935, 1936, 1940, all of that, if that is you're like, hell, if this is going to happen on my watch, I love my country. I'm going to do what I need to do, what I can do. The thing that will give you the most power, that will give you the most efficacy, that will make your actions strategic and impactful, will come out of your peace. It will come out of you being able to be yourself with God, regardless of what's going on around you. All right. So that's the assignment. This is not a new issue. Okay. This is reality. This has been reality. This has been reality for far more of your neighbors in their own homes than you have any idea. All right. So if you don't like this reality, if you don't want to live in the world where the rapists and the pedophiles and the predators dominate everything, and they're the voices that get heard, and they're the ones who get paid, and they're the ones who take everything for themselves, and they're the ones who get to do whatever they want, and nobody can touch them. If you don't want to live in that world, I'm telling you what you need to do. You need to get yourself in a good place so you can move from there, because this is going to take everything we all have to make happen if we're going to change the pattern that we're looking at right now. So stop looking at the ugly stuff. Just discipline yourself. If you need to create a mantra, I have a video I did a couple of weeks ago. You can find it on my YouTube. It's, I believe, titled, What to Do When You're Losing Your Mind. Like, literally, if you are so, like, if this is really taking a toll on you, go check that out. Use that tool. It works. Because if you want to be part of the game, you're going to have to pull yourself away from the dynamic that these predatory people have entrapped us in. Okay? We're going to find new ways to do things, but it's going to start because it's a new way of doing things, right? We haven't done it like this before. Before we did like Bonhoeffer tried to kill Hitler, you know? So what we're going to do, what I've done, what I hope you're doing, what I know many Black women have been saying they are doing, wise people are saying, we're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to prepare. We're going to get ourselves into a place of emotional, mental strength. We're going to take care of those people who will reciprocate with us. This is not the time to be taking care of somebody who won't take care of themselves. Now it's got to be going both ways. I'm not just giving, I'm also getting, right? That is where strength is. That is where we have a chance of changing the patterns. Because, guys, what is happening, it's overwhelming, it's ugly, it has precedent. One of the most frustrating things about dealing with these kinds of people is they do what they do because it works. Okay? Let me hear that again. They do what they do because it works. The odds of you getting it not to work are not fantastic. These things work. You know, smear campaigns work. They all work, at least in the short term. So you have horrible people who can get what they want by doing horrible things. And then we all stand around and say, no, you can't do that. That's wrong. That's bad. We're going to stop you. And they're like, really, why would I stop doing? This is how I get what I want. And that's what I do is I get what I want. And sorry, it sucks to be you. Really. That's where they're at. It's like that level, that simple. There is no there. You know, as the mid-20th century philosopher Hannah Arendt says, evil has no depth. Only the good has depth, you know? So get into your depth. Go deep. Go deep. Take some time. Trust that if there is a way through, that it will be found by being at peace rather than in panic. It will be found by growing. It'll be found by building. It'll be found within ourselves before it's found among ourselves. Okay? So that is my challenge for you tonight. When you are looking at this news, when you are outraged, say to yourself, so has it always been. I'm going to go do my part and do my work and get at peace and walk away. Okay, stop giving them all this attention. They don't need it. They don't deserve it. They're only using it to manipulate you. So take care of yourself. All right. I love you all. I will talk to you again soon. Please do go check out my YouTube channel and my website, The Upside Down World. Christmas is coming. You know, the merchandise that I sell in my merchandise store is all sourced through American manufacturers. I use a outfit called Shopify, and it is like printed and sent from here in the United States. And I donate a portion of all of the profits from the sales to not-for-profit organizations and their leaders around the world that I know personally and I work with and whose needs I would like to help meet. So you'll be doing something good and people will love it. Trust me. Everybody wants a mug with the nun smoking a cigarette, giving the finger, reading the Bible. Come on, guys. Go over to my website, theupsidedownworld.com. Love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.